So welcome to the first Solution Sync. What we're going to do today is just kind of walk through our charter here at the Solution Sync. So what this is going to be. Probably like most of you, we're fresh out of sales kickoffs, whatever you call them internally. We have many different names. We've sat through many different sales meetings for the past month. So a little bit of just content around current positioning on all of our products. We're also going to walk through all the resources that are available out there for you as a partner. So, sit back. If you have any questions, put them in the chat. We have an army of folks that are out there to talk to you about those in the chat. We can handle them real time as we're going through the content, but just welcome. So what is the Solution Sync, right? Like, so you signed up, you're here. Let's talk about what the Solution Sync is going to be. So the plan is always, like the Mike Tyson quote, right? Everybody has a plan until they get punched in the face. We can certainly change, our path as we go. But the current plan is to have these be product focused every month, rotating through our different solution areas. So FinOps, SPM, ITFM. Today, as I mentioned, it's going to be a more broad overview. So for those of our partners that have been in the mix for a while, or maybe that are more familiar with one area than another, you might be looking at some 101 content, but ongoing, these monthly, we'll dig into these different areas so that we go a little deep on what's current with the products, have, kind of an AMA format where folks can ask questions and just address any, things that you're seeing out in the field. The main intention is that in the past, we've had certain meetings that kind of straddled the technical selling side and the more strategic selling side. These calls are going to be focused more towards the technical seller. You'll see a little bit later some quarterly calls we're going to do that are focused more on the strategy. You have your account managers and folks that you talk to day to day on strategy, but the intent as we move forward is for these to be much more focused on technical selling to help the folks that are actually in there underneath the hood, and kind of the positioning from that standpoint. So on that front today, when we talk through some of the content coming out of our our sales kickoff, it's just going to be kind of which solutions fit where, and then as we go on further month over month, we'll kind of get deeper into how you sell those, what new features are out there, how things may run with a POB POC. These are going to be partner resource led and supported. So we are going to leverage not only the solutions team of which I'm part. So, if I didn't say up front, I kind of was so eager to get into this. I'm Jay Platt, Director of Global Partner Solutions. So been here at Apptio for 7 years, supporting partners from the beginning. When I started, I think there were literally 2 partner solutions people. So we've grown to have many more than that, which is pretty awesome. But so all the pre-sale solutions folks are going to get on here when they can. We're going to have representation from our customer success teams, our enablement teams. And even though, for instance, this week I'm doing some presenting, Sabiha from our enablement team is going to be doing some presenting. Brett's going to help me out. Anybody that can join will join, so that if there are questions in the chat or things that come up that require, somebody with a particular area of expertise, they're here and we can leverage them. So again, just to address your specific questions and issues, and really to provide relevant product updates. So with that, I'm going to jump into an SKO sync. So let's go through a little bit of what we discussed over the past few weeks. So I don't know about you all. I think I've logged 30 to 40 hours of SKO, whether it be through the broader IBM SKO, Apptio specific content that was for our strategic sellers, content that was for the solutions team. I think I still have one more to go that's tied to some more ecosystem specific things. But these are just some general refreshers on the products before we hand to Sabia to work through the resource thing, and we'll talk a little bit about upcoming sessions. So one thing is, within this ecosystem, and this, was hammered with our internal sellers. We have different types of partners. So many of you on the line right now do different things in different spaces, right? So the 3 major areas that we have out there are managed service providers, which is an area that we've been really full steam ahead into over the past 2 or 3 years, tied more specifically to the cloud ability tool set. But that's where really you are basically the franchisee, running your own business through those solutions. Our global systems integrators, which are talking to companies at a higher level, have a massive portfolio of things they're doing with different customers and just adding Apptio, IBM Apptio solutions to the mix. Our regional partners who then, provide local expertise, whether it be language support, compliance knowledge, just being able to help customers with that more like white glove, hand-in-hand service. Within the different partners we have out there, right, we have the different solution sets. We're going to dig into each of those right now. I would say, the thought process on these calls is that by focusing in on different areas each month, if your particular organization or your function within your organization only has you in a specific area, you can just get on for the months that apply. We would love to have everybody come out here and be a generalist. I mean, that's what we're always kind of consistently doing. Brett, who's going to speak here in a little bit, is our, kind of our SPM, target process expert, but even internally, he'll jump on things for the other solutions just to kind of understand what's going on. They're here for you to use and utilize and, definitely get the word out so that folks can come on, get the information they need for the different areas that you're supporting, or maybe just to learn and dip their toe into a new area, learn something new entirely. We're really looking for as many folks as possible. We want to be more available to you and more, just more effectively getting the information to you. So this is our, our attempt on that. So, again, for some of you on here, I see some names are folks we've been working with for, my whole 7 years, some, just over the past couple of years, some entirely new, but, typically what your customers are struggling with and the things that IBM Apptio helps support is things like managing IT spend in a complex hybrid environment. Huge one right now, right? Should just be like the only one on the list. Understanding and tracking AI costs, right? We're looking at that from all sorts of different angles, whether it be the internal cost of AI, so how do we, what are they doing with AI and what does it cost? We'll also dig in future sessions on how we use AI to do our job and for help you do your job. But AI is, the thing that's at the top of everybody's mind. One that's kind of floated throughout my entire 7 years. It becomes hot and cold. It's like, when I'm playing hide and seek with my kids, right, is workload placement, application migration. So I would say, 6 years, 5-6 years ago, it was, everything's going to go to the cloud, like shut down the data centers, piece of cake, like we're out, like done deal. And then everybody kind of went to start that process and then went, whoa, wait a minute. There's a lot more to this, and hey, this cloud thing is not as complicated as just like flip the switch, get it out there. Managing that cloud spend, and then kind of the last two, which are the thread that's always run through everything Apptio does, which is just the tech cost management, return on investment. So unit economics is a term that gets tied to the FinOps space, but unit economics is something that's always been tied to ITFM, TBM, all the different approaches that we've had, disciplines that are out there over the years. Like, it's what is my cost of doing business? Am I actually making money when I factor in all these different costs? And, which leads into the last piece, which is demonstrating that business value of IT. We'll walk through all these individually. We will provide copies of these decks when Sabiha jumps on. She's going to walk you through all the places where all this information is out there and readily available to you. But these are the different types of customer challenges. So like basically we take that first slide and we go, hey, like how do we actually help on those things? That is driven by using a unified cost model to pull all this information together, putting everything into a common place, like a single pane of glass, to be able to understand what that spend and consumption looks like. Kind of the interesting thing is that the capabilities on the back end over the years. So I'll use the word studio, which will mean something to some people. It may not mean things to others, but it's the back end of the costing solution. We've always had the ability to bring in data and create dashboarding information that shows like what that total cost of ownership is, what that usage looks like. And the awesome thing is that's like a highly flexible back end. So like as we make this shift to AI, or we've already shifted, right? Like it's around us everywhere. I actually just saw over the weekend there are AI agents that have created their own social network. So like the AI is already talking to the AI. Maybe pretty soon the AI will have their own, TCO models they're looking at for how good of a job we're doing in utilizing them. But so any of that data we can bring in We can manipulate, come up with a standard way to load it month over month, provide the metrics around it. And then just by virtue of that, we can also look at, that hybrid IT TCO. So understand like what the cost is across the entire business, all the different ways that companies are doing things. And then, we get into the last few, which are the more high level strategic business pieces, which is, getting that CIO level overview of what cloud costs mean. Like, so, as we talk through a little deeper in FinOps in a little bit, it may not just always be about saving dollars, right? That's a lot of what brings people to the table. But once you're mature in the cloud, a lot of the work, could be tied to how do we make our applications more effective? Like, how do we, get rid of any latency, make sure that they're strong, we don't have any issues. And sometimes that involves further investment. So just having all the information to be able to justify that and get that pushed through. So, basically, you see at the bottom, we solve every critical challenge. So what we'll do on these calls is dig into those specific challenges month over month in each of the different areas and help you, find ways to unearth, what's going on with your customers, help you sell to your customers, help you support your customers day to day. So with that, I'm going to let Brett do a little talking. So spare you my voice for a few minutes. Brett's going to talk to you a little bit about SPM and the positioning that we have going on there.
Thanks, Jay. Good morning, afternoon, evening, depending on where you are in the world. Let's get a little bit into strategic portfolio management, or SPM as we call it. Just a few highlights of things that have been released recently for target process, but also enhancements and things that are coming out over 2026. So here are a few of the highlights. First things first, SPM Workbench. So some of you may have already seen that we had a release in December that included, end of October, very end of October, SPM Control Center, right? So this is our first foray into new UX and UI using the Carbon design to unify our presentation layer across all of our products with IBM's award-winning UI and UX here. So that's already out. It is a little bit more of an executive dashboard view, but it's giving us kind of a preview of what's to come in the product as we go through. So you're going to see more modernized UX and UI there. However, over the course of the year, we're expected to see more and more layers of configurability and presentation layers there. So that's an exciting new development there, as well as there are reporting engines that are also being developed there. So you're going to see a little bit more things like drag and drop and a little bit more flexibility in terms of how we present data in the tool. Moving on, a big one here is workforce management. So, we've always had a pretty robust demand and capacity solution in the product too. This takes it a step further too. So we've already got new things like manager reporting, headcount plans, and being able to actually manage those workforce capabilities. But from here, we're basically going to get into more broader headcount planning and analysis presentations too. So more scenario planning that includes those things. So that way we can look at things like job profiles and who's spending time at what too, and being able to see those things and present those things at a glance. So it's an operational and a presentation layer enhancement. Going from there, let's move on to integrated AI for Apptio. So this is something that's going to be actually integrated across all of our products in the Apptio suite, but also for target process. So we're adding some natural language querying. It's already in private preview. I've seen it myself. If you want more information, then let me know. But now we're going to be able to start asking the AI questions, the chatbot. So getting some specifics on things like, hey, how many people do I have on this project? Or how much money am I spending on ABC initiative? So those are very, very cool things that are again in private preview, but coming down the pike soon. And then our Solutions 2.0 presentation too. So for those of you who are familiar with our solutions library, or looking at a UX UI overhaul of that solutions library on the way that it's configured and operated as well. So a lot of welcome new changes coming through. All right, so let's talk about the case for SPM in general here. So things about old ways of working. We know that there are a lot of challenges out there. You're probably hearing them every single day. The big theme here is that we have an old model, the old way of project tracking, right? We got those annual rigid funding cycles. We're focusing and obsessed with utilization and my favorite, commitment to plan, right? The iron triangle, as we call it. Also, we're looking at things after the fact, not in real time. Makes it very hard to adapt to the market. So the idea is shifting to value delivery, right? So looking at things in a way that we're theme based and we're continuously and dynamically funding things. We're focusing more on business outcomes, things like objectives and key results, or OKRs. Looking at that real-time NPV, so that way we know where to pivot, where to pull the plug, where to invest new. Gives us a chance to adapt to the market a little bit easier. We can move on today. All right. So why is this change happening too? So now this has been going on actually for probably at least a decade, if not more. But here are a few things. It's happening faster and faster every day. So market shifts, right? A lot of investment in AI. A lot of companies are going through mergers and acquisitions. There are huge digital transformation initiatives. Trying to adapt to markets. So every company I've been working with in the last 15 years has had this challenge. It's being thrust upon us. The best way to combat that, if you will be to, be able to adapt quicker. So we're seeing an evolution in the way that workforce and the ways working are going. So we have a mix of things. So SPM is not just one thing. I mean, you might have more traditional project, PMO operations. You're going to see a lot of agile at scale, ways of prioritizing work and tying that to objectives and key results. Those are all things that are changing. Target Process is well positioned to adapt to that, not only change and view where things are today, but also how to steer things for the future. So kind of getting away from like those rigid annual plans, more cyclical plans and the ability to adapt to them here. A lot of times we're looking at things like CapEx and OpEx. How do we measure those things? How do we report on them after the fact as well, so we can plan for the future? And of course, labor is a big thing there, right? Resource constraints, contract versus full-time employees, internal capitalization on labor. Those are all things. And of course, this just general financial pressures, right? A lot of times companies are reining in their spend. You have to justify your value. You have to actually show it, and usually in a shorter amount of time. And also making sure that over time we're optimizing those investments, getting better. All right, so let's talk a little bit about how to sell strategic portfolio management, and particularly Target Process. So here's some cross-sell things that we're looking at here. So a lot of times, if the customer is not already an ITFM customer, you can still get into the foray of selling Target Process. So in the quadrant that we're looking at here, in the opportunistic area too, you're going to look for things like for triggers like, hey, I don't know where my people are, or I don't know where my spend is happening. I'm not able to see, how these initiatives tie to my strategy, right? Those are all good reasons to bring up Target Process and to present how that can help them in that regard. But also, if they're in an area where, hey, like they're in a high maturity state, right, you can look at selling ITFM together with Target Process. So the idea there is ITFM is going to be covering obviously the big, more macro level of technology spend, whereas Target Process is going to be a little bit more surgical in a way that it's going to actually directly tie to things like labor, because that's a little bit more people oriented. And it's a little bit more touchy. There's a lot of trade-offs and things like that too. Those two things together can be very, very powerful. Going on to the right side here, you got an IT champion, right? They're already existing as an ITM customer to start. You're going to hear a lot of conversations around, hey, I've got, my overall accounting under control, but maybe I need to tighten up the way we spend or prioritize initiatives. That's where target process is a really good entry point too. So warm intro to the PMO, get to know your PMO folks, your directors, your VPs, and things like that. They are very much a contributor to the financial organization, and they also have real challenges that need to solve, right? And then if they're doing really great with that ITFM, that's another entry point for us to just sell target process in addition to and move forward on there. So looking for a lot of trigger things, particularly around strategy and execution and how to show value all the way down to the individual workforce level, but also the ability to look at like things like labor, resource management, workforce management. Those are all great options for us to introduce the concept of strategic portfolio management target process.
Cool. Thanks, Brett.
Of
So
course.
we'll jump over into FinOps. As Brett was talking, it did make me think of a key area. So like when Brett's talking about, the changes to the solution library or, these different areas that we're adding and target process, like the big theme for IBM overall and for Apptio is, as part of IBM through our sales kickoff this year was simplification. And it's one of those things that especially, you'll get a slide here where we have like kube cost and we're talking about, K8 clusters, not simple, but just making these things simpler for our customers. So, there have been many times over the years organizationally where it's like, we want to add features, keep adding features. We need more features, like, keep driving them in there. But like, are they simple to use and are they intuitive to the customer? Speaking candidly as somebody from the solution side, the answer to that wasn't always yes. So we are working really hard this year to make things simpler. As part of that, like our focus over these next few slides before I let Sabiha walk you through the resources that are available and the training pieces is selling people, like meeting them where they are with what they need. The internal Apptio folks are probably sick of this analogy for me, but I have some new people here, so I'll use it. Or it's not an analogy as much as an example. From a solution standpoint, so if we're talking to like a technical seller audience here where we're supporting sales, we want to get a sale in the door. The kind of a big piece of getting something sold is actually identifying the customer need and meeting the need. And I always tie it back to, which now, like as I get older, it's like I'm talking Turner Classic Movies, which people probably don't even know what that is. But Tom Hanks in the movie Big, he is a middle school age kid, although he acts much younger in an adult's body, and he winds up working for like a toy company. And they have sold all these robots that transform into things, and they're like, "Oh, we have this great new one we're going to put out." It turns into a building, and everybody in the room is like, "Oh, this is great!" Like it turns into a building. Kids are going to love this. And he takes it and he looks at it and he's like, "What's fun about a building?" Like, "What do you mean it's a building? Like it transforms into." He's like, "Yeah, but like a building's not fun. I don't get it. Like I don't get what's going on here." I think from a technical solution selling standpoint, that is the role like of the technical team to kind of be the person that occasionally has to say like, "I don't get it. Like what does the customer really need?" Like we can look and we have a massive amount of things we can do across FinOps. You see them all here, like whether it's, that being, directly into like that granular insight with kube cost for, K, or going into, Turbonomic to do real-time performance optimization and get things, like more robust. So you can gain efficiency, but you can also gain resource through like, better scaling, cloudability for the more finance side of the house. So driving those savings and like more like the unit economics, but like, what is it that the customer needs? Because if we put these things all in front of them and like even as technical sellers we're as guilty of it, but like you look at everything, you're like, "Oh, look at all this revenue we can drive. Oh my, we can sell all these things," but not if we don't always sell them in the right order and to the right people. So I wanted to look at this a few different ways, and this is how it was presented to us on our SKO as well. Like so, when to sell what a few different slices of this. So from a persona standpoint, like it's engineering and DevOps, that is where you lead with coup costs. Like so, you're going to have cross sell opportunities later. That's all that's listed in the bottom, but those are the folks that want to get into that more technical detail. That's more what they're dealing with. FinOps finance, you're leading with cloudability. It's probably even like the newest folks to FinOps, I think know that most of the time when opportunities are coming to the table from a FinOps standpoint, it's typically driven by finance, and it has more of a budgeting, forecasting. Whoa, this is way more expensive than we thought it was going to be. So you kind of lead there, and then once you get everyone comfortable with, hey, you're spending the right amounts here. Now let's talk about getting that depth into your K8s, or talking about termonomics to better enforce the savings, or maybe to scale some things up. Platform operations, lead with turbonomics. So, more performance safe automation, continuous optimization. So the things that they know the things that they aren't worried about going away due to some cost cutting measure. So, like just going to them up front and saying, hey, we have a solution that'll meet you more where you are. So there's a few different approaches, and depending on the personas you're talking to, it's like you really have to listen, because if you're talking to somebody from finance and you start going into like all the virtues of coup costs, their eyes are going to glaze over, unless there's some sort of hobbyist or somebody who came from a more technical background. So you just need to, understand who you're talking to. Also, from a maturity standpoint, like, so I think that this gets better and better over time. So like FinOps has been around for a while now. So you do get people that are more in the walk stage, but by and large, like most of the customers that we encounter, and we know because we go into lots of deals together with you, is that they're in the crawl walk stage. Not many customers are ready to run. If they are, it's great. Like we'd love to help them, but like just like assessing where they're at, so from a crawl stage, like just that initial like loading of the information just to get the visibility. And if we do have the right technical resources, getting coup cost in place just to start, doing that piece of things. They in that case, they work in parallel. And then you move into getting into the deeper pieces of things, rather than kind of showing everything that's on the truck and having somebody be like, it's great, but I don't know if we can handle it. Like, so we kind of have to meet them where they are. And the way I've always framed it up too is it's a lot like a fitness journey. Like, so Michael and I, when we were doing a lot of tag team on this, it would always be, our approach of, initially, people come in, they probably want to like lose weight, like, but you can't lose weight forever. So like, the initial stages are okay, let's like get my health in order. But like now that I have that together, I've lost the weight, like maybe I want to put on some muscle. Like, so that might be turbonomic. Help me put on some muscle. I want to get deeper on my unit economics. I want to be more efficient. Like I want to run a better mile. It's understanding that. And I feel like where you as partners are like hugely important to that is like, you're the personal trainer, like you're the fitness expert who in a lot of cases knows that customer already, to be able to tell them what they should be doing with a real authority. Like, so, hey, I actually think it is time for you to hit the weights a little bit. Like I know that your arms aren't as strong as you want, so like maybe we need to focus there a little more. Like, like your legs are a little, you kind of know the breakdown of what they can and can't do, where they're at, and you can help them make the right decisions. And the last piece is, just from a control standpoint, and this, is similar to Persona, right? Like just so each of these products operates in a distinct part of the technology stack. And so, kind of just acknowledging that and breaking those things apart is the best way to approach it. Like, so, business and finance is always going to be that cloudability focus, infrastructure execution, turbo, and then that Kubernetes control plane, coup cost. But so it really does come down to your knowledge and ongoing like support of your customers is huge. Like your point of view is what drives us over the board. Like, so because there are other solutions that are out there. I would say not other solutions that are better than what we have here, but there are other solutions out there. There's internal things that customers are doing. You can really help differentiate through that history and experience that you have with your customers to point them in the right direction by giving them the right thing based on that. It's like you just continue with that trust you've already built, and then the other things will come down the line. But it's really, not the best idea to push everything in front of a customer, to have them be like, that's too much, and they walk away and it's too late to decouple some of these things. So that's that simplifying approach that we really want to take this year. So that enough of my voice here for a little bit. I'm going to hand it over to Sabiha, and she's just going to walk through. We're going to run these sessions monthly, but as you're out there on your own, we want you to know where the resources are. There are lots of great resources out there. There's trainings. Sabiha is going to talk through how you get access to that. So you can go dig into some of that, and maybe throw us some topics for future calls based off of that. So I'll hand it over to her to talk through that a little bit.
Thank you so much, Jay. Let me share my screen. Right. Hey, everyone. So my name is Sabiha, and I am a partner training lead, and I'm just going to take you through a couple of the resources that we have. Right. So what I've done is I've put together the most common questions that get asked or I receive when it comes around the resources that our partners have. First, like Jay was just saying, is where do I access these partner training? How do I gain access to these partner training, right? So first thing is to keep in mind that you need to be on you need to have access to Partner Plus. If you do not have access to the Partner Plus portal, you will not have access to the IBM training. And the two-way to go about it is either you register for the same, and then it gets approved by your IBM administrator for your org, or you will need to reach out to your IBM administrator and they'll add you on. But once you have access to the IBM Partner Plus portal and it's approved, you should be able to gain access to the training. The next question that I commonly get asked is, what is the journey? Where should I start? What's available? Kind of question. And it's understandable because IBM content is like a big blue sea. So it makes sense. So this is a snapshot of how a partner's journey would be if they were to be onboarding for Cloudability. The recommendation is that you start off with onboarding. So when we say onboarding, access the in-app trainings, look at IBM Tech Exchange, and make sure that you're signed up for the Apptio for All page where you can ask questions, connect with people, and see what the best practices are. Next is identify the certification that best fits your role, pick them up and complete those certification. In a bit, I'll talk about those that are mandated and those that are not. And then, of course, we also have for when it comes to Cloudability, we have the FinOps bootcamp sessions, especially for partners. That too is available, which I'll also talk about in a little bit. With your continuous learning, this is what we have, which is your Tech Exchange topic group, your Power Up events like these, the Beyond Solution sync call, the community call. This is how you continue to update yourself and build your knowledge on the product. This is to give you a high level view, because usually we get the questions, do I need to do a level 4? Do I need to do a level 1? Do I need to do a level 2? So this is just to give you a high level idea of what is a mandate for you. We recommend that you complete before you start supporting your clients. So we have for level 1, why it's important. If these are your roles, you definitely need to complete your level 1. Otherwise, how are you going to talk about the product, right? When it comes to level 4, it's all about deploying. So if you are going to help your clients regarding the same, you definitely need to complete the level 4. I am going to show you a document that we have. The links will be shared later on along with the deck. So this gives you a breakdown of each product that we have broken down by level 1, level 2, level 3, and level 4, along with links that's available, right? So this would be your go-to place once we're done with this session, to figure out what are the links that I need to explore. The next resource I want to talk about are these Apptio Partner Education Officers. So during your learning journey, let's say you have some questions around products, or you have some questions around the hands-on lab environments that you have access to. Anything that you feel like, okay, I'm stuck here during the learning and I need to get in touch with someone to get some questions answered, then these calls are available, and they're available once a week on Tuesdays or Thursdays at alternate times. And registration links are available in your learning plan, level 4 learning plan. You just have to go up and sign up for it and just join the call whenever you want. These are like 30 minutes. You join in, ask your question, drop out. You don't have to book a slot for yourself or anything like that. This is to give you an idea that if you are interested in any kind of custom, like let's say I showed you the level 1 to level 4, you've gone through these trainings, and now you're like, I need more. I want something that's custom to me. Then you can reach out to the Apptio education team and they'll help you figure out what they can do in custom for a fee. Now, let's look at some enablement resource. This is something I hope all of you at least have explored it and bookmarked for yourself. This is very important, right? Your Apptio partner ecosystem page is your one-stop page for resources. It is structured in such a way that it has all the links, all the content that you require, be it education, be it upcoming events, be it marketing kits. All of them is available in this page. So if you have not got access to the Apptio partner ecosystem or bookmarked it, you need to ensure that this is there for you. This is where you will also find the recording for this event, this session that we are having. Any recordings that happen will be available for partners in this page. The next one I'm going to talk about is Apptio Partner Community Tech Exchange. This is also a place where you will have resources, but the one main important thing about this page is that this is where you get to engage with the team. This page, you will be able to speak with your partner success manager. You will have experts answering your questions. We have had a couple of questions raised over here. We investigated and responded them. So engagement takes place here. Other than that, we also have some helpful resources available on Tech Exchange to support you. These can be, for example, the product enablement resource link. This is where you would get access to everything from release notes, spotlights, which is written by the solution team. And you also will have quick learning tutorials, partner education, all that is available there. In the product feature release tab, this is where you stay updated on product updates. Like we have launch moments that was recordings available there. There are some deep dive libraries, content available there, which are demos or conversations that's happened internal, made available to partners. We have customer power-ups, and it's a lot of other sessions and demos really available there. And I'm very excited to announce that we are going to launch a Cloudability MSP Enablement Hub, which you can expect to see it soon in Q1. And the whole purpose of this page is to provide resources based on your roles, and also a one page where if you have any questions around MSP, you can ask an expert as well. We'll talk more about it when it's live. The next one is your quick reference guide. So we heard Brett talk about SPM, right? So we have content on SPM, the control center, available as a quick reference guide. Your quick reference guide is nothing but a document that provides information on what the feature is or what the release is about, to give you an idea what it is. It will highlight the value, impact, and the problem it solves. It also includes direct links that would take you to documents, resources, materials that is specific to the quick reference guide, right? I will show you where these are located as well. So this is this is the event calendar, which I'll show you in a bit. Let's talk about this page here. So this is your quick reference guide that's available in this space here. Again, links will be shared the uh, in the deck later on. One thing I do want to call out in terms of why do you want to be on this page and why it's important for you is the updates. So we have Kathy and Duncan, who is your partner success manager I spoke about earlier. One of the tasks that they do is ensure that all of you stay on top of whatever is the release is happening, so that you are informed before your clients are informed. So if you're at the moment let's say getting newsletters or you're being emailed, they ensure that you get it as quickly as possible. Similarly, we ensure a lot of these contents are available on a need basis. So this is one of the reasons that you need to be here. Easiest way to stay on top of things. Now, the next portion that I'm going to talk about is what's new. So this is what's been happening in the month of January 2026 in terms of product. We have had a couple of releases. Information on the same is available in our IBM, the Apptio Partner Tech Exchange space. All these links here are updates from either Kathy or Duncan, letting you know what they are and where are the resource links that you need to capture more information or get to know more about it. Other than product, we also have an update for education. This just got rolled out this week. Your Apptio Costing Essential and your Apptio Standard has been updated with the following content. So if you're someone who has completed a level 4 for the Costing Essential and Standard, you might want to have a look at it and see what's the updated content. If you would like to check them out, the links are here, so you just click on them, right? Yeah. Next, let's look at some upcoming events. So first off, the Apptio EMEA partner team is very excited to host the 2026 Partner Kickoff Roadshow, which is a flagship gathering for IBM and Apptio partners, including GSIs and resellers. So if you are in or supporting any of these regions, please do register because this is a great opportunity to connect with the team. The next upcoming event I'm glad to speak about is that we have the inaugural Beyond Apptio community call that is happening on the 24th of February. Don't forget to register. You don't want to miss that out. And then the next Beyond Solution Sync is going to happen in the month of March, the 3rd of March. I'll talk about a bit in terms of what you can expect in terms of content. The next available resource is your customer power up. Event is your customer power up. Last month we covered target process. This month is going to be all about IBM Cloudability product roadmap. If you're unable to make it for this event, not a problem. The recordings will be made available in the Apptio marketing, the Apptio, the partner ecosystem space. So many names, the partner ecosystem name and the tech exchange. So the recordings will be available there. Finally, the last the last event or upcoming event is your FinOps practitioner certification and cloudability product bootcamp for partners. They are broken down by region. We just finished APAC for this quarter. This is the date for the next quarter. We have EMEA and Americas coming up for Q1 and Q2. Again, registration links are available in the deck. Finally, I do want to give a quick highlight on the partner marketing kit that's available. This lets you plan, execute, and measure your marketing campaigns, and all of them is available in one place. I do have an update on this. This include, I think in a couple of weeks, the site is going to be also updated with Cube Cost Kit. All right, I did rush over there, but if you have any questions, feel free to drop it in chat. It's over to you, Jay.
All right, thanks, Sabia. So we're here with 1 minute, and we're right to where we needed to be, everybody. So thank you for hanging in. So as you can see, a lot of things that are available to you. The only thing I want to point out at the end is these sessions are for you, the partners. So like feedback and requests for future topics are welcome and encouraged. The upcoming months, so next month, FinOps, we're going to go through the entire Cloudability suite, some MSP updates, Kube cost updates. April 7th is slated for SPM, so SPM Control Center Workforce Management, get a deeper dive into those. And May 5th, an ITFM focus with costing and TCO packs. But please reach out. We want to mold these to what you need from us. We probably will have them be more where it's 30 minutes of content and 15 minutes of Q&A and workshopping, so that we're not, this first one was kind of packed just to let you know what is going to, happen over these coming months. But thank you so much for attending. Till we sync again, appreciate it.